Well, good morning. It is Saturday, April 1st. Yeah, I'm just getting ready to do a little bullet comparison. Just recently acquired these guys. That is the Barnes 100 grain TTSX boat tail. Nice sleek little guy. I have already done real minor testing on the 127. This is the LRX. That's the long range hunting bullet. And all the rest of these I've played with. I have hunted with the 120 grain ELD match, put down a real nice, like 180 pound 10-point buck with this bullet, and gotten fantastic groups with it. You know, 0.45-inch groups with it at 100 yards, and it stays pretty flat, 2, 3, 400, and is pretty consistent all the way out to 600. So we'll go left to right. There's the 95 grain VMAX from Hornady. These were also very accurate, and I got really good speed out of them. But being a varmint bullet, they expand really quickly. They don't have, varmint bullets, they're not meant to retain their weight. They explode, essentially. They come apart, and they're for smaller game. I'm more of a whitetail hunter than really anything. So they are definitely fun to plink with, and they were relatively inexpensive. I got really good accuracy, really good velocity out of them, being so light. But I don't think I would want to use that for a whitetail hunt. Again, the 100 grain I haven't shot yet. I've had these on the Notify Me list. I believe it was Midway USA. I got them from, I was on the Notify Me list since COVID. And they finally came in stock, so I bought 2 boxes, so I've got 100 of them to play with. And then I got the 108 grain open tip match Lappoise. Just a beautiful, sleek bullet. Those fly really good. I got the best groups I've ever gotten with any bullet out of any gun. With these, I think it was like 0.37-inch groups, and pretty good SD, single digit SDs, and then, these were the first ones I ever loaded and tried. They've been great. I ended up loading a whole bunch of them. Again, I haven't tried these at distance yet. I've only loaded enough of them just to get some speed numbers and test groups at 100 yards. And I haven't gone and done further testing on the 127s. I really didn't see the velocity I wanted to, but maybe I was using too slow a powder. So for the purpose of this test, we are going to test all 5 bullets. I think I'll do 10 of each, so load 50 bullets, using gold medal federal primers. These are AR, small rifle match primers. And and I've had the best luck, consistency, accuracy, velocity, just overall best performance, at least in this caliber, you know, with the Grendel, using Alliant Power Pro Varmint. Basically everything from your H335 to the CFE 223, that's all very useful stuff. The Exterminator, the 2230, the TAC, 2520, BLC 2, and yeah, the CFE 223. They're all viable, good powders for this caliber. You know, and everything else kind of in between that on the burn rate chart will all work. But I just, me personally, I've had really good luck with Power Pro Varmint. And then I'll be using the Lee die set. And to be 100% non-biased, I'll be using virgin brass. After 2 years of searching and searching and searching, I finally got my hands on a pile of virgin brass. I've been reloading the same 400 cases that I've had for a couple years. They've all got 4 or 5 shots on them. Almost all Hornady brass, which I've had no problems with. But I'm starting to work hard in it, and I want to wait to reload any of that again until I get an annealer and run it all through the annealer so I can soften it back up before I resize it again. The last run, I was having some that I had a few chambering issues, so it probably needs to be softened up and resized after annealing. So we're going to start fresh with virgin brass. I will run it through the resizer just for fun. I will run it through the Lyman Case Trim Express just for fun. The blade probably won't even touch a single one of the cases, but just to make sure. And then I'll just do a real quick chamfer and deburr on each one, get them all primed, and I'm not gonna hand trickle every single load, all 50 loads, because I'm just gonna go with between 29 and 31 with all of these bullets. Has kind of been the sweet spot for powder load. So I'm going to dial in the RCBS powder dropper. It's a Uniflow. I'm going to dial that in for 30 grains. And we're going to do 10 rounds, 30 grains of Power Pro Varmint for each one of these, using the same primers, all virgin brass. That's 50 counts, so that'll be the whole box. It'll fire form that brass. And I'll, it just gives me a baseline of, what I can expect from each one of these stacked up against each other. And it'll give me my first look at, how the 100 grain TTSX is going to group. I'll shoot everything at 100 yards, and I would like to see some decent velocity out of this, but just replicate everything. They're all going to get the same charge, same primer, same case, same treatment. It'll be interesting to see the span of velocity from the 95 grain all the way up to the 127. So I'm gonna get set up, get the camera on a tripod, and we'll get to work. I'll probably time lapse most of it. There's a couple parts, dialing in the uniflow, dialing in the dies that I can slow down and explain. I'll try not to be too long-winded on most of it. So stay tuned. Wow, it's a bunch of crap. Oh, I lied. I thought I was a case short. Actually, for what you pay for these guys, only 50 cases. Geez, what was it? 180 bucks for, yeah, it was $45 a box for 50 cases. So, almost $1 a case. I don't like spending that much on it, but whatever. I was just happy to find it. So, okay, dies. I'm gonna give these a quick spritz with RCBS case slick. Come on. Kind of want to hold it a bit away because the bottle really kind of focuses it, so I like to hold it a good 2 feet away, and it kind of spreads it around. And you don't have to soak them, just get a little bit of, on the necks. That's where most of the work is being done. So we got our resizing die, and I believe this guy is pretty close. Pretty much should be right on. I only have one 6.5 Grendel gun. Right about there. Get her a little snug. And then there's my Grendel headspace gauge. Okay. Shell holder. Oh, that's not a good start. What the heck? Do I got the wrong shell holder in there? Shell holder number 6. Oh, how about that? Apparently. Weird. Okay. So that's perfect. It's like absolutely perfect. You want your case neck to be perfectly flush right there, and your case head to be perfectly flush there. You can see there's kind of notches in there. I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying to move it around so maybe you can see the glare. That's indented just a little bit, and you want that right smooth. Oh, where'd it go? Darn it. But it should be able to drop in and drop out with ease. If you have to push it into the headspace gauge, there's an issue. So I don't think I need to trim these, but I will do just a quick chamfer and deburr. Yep. Perfect. On each of them. See if I can back this camera up where you can kind of see it all. There we go. And I guess I'll time lapse the rest of this because this is the most time consuming part. Okay. Let's just pretend nobody here knows anything about reloading. Obviously, out of the box, they're going to be pretty darn close as far as, you know, case length. Where I had it marked. 6.5. Grendel. All right. So, always reference the data. Max case length 1.520. Case trim length 1.510. So $0 deal. They're pretty much all going to be perfect. But just for entertainment's sake, I'll dial in the case trimmer. I believe that one's already in. That should be number 7. Yep. Okay. Just want to make sure. I love this trimmer. This has sped up my mass reloading time by leaps and bounds. Using the little, you know, handheld trimmer is just ridiculous. If you're making 5 bullets that are super high pressure and well, I actually touched it. I'll be darned. I gotta cut her down to 1.51, and sometimes the chamfer and deburr kind of stretches out the mouth a little bit and brings them back to 151. So let's. All right. So, oh yeah. Yep. I'm still gonna go in just a tiny bit here. Size it. Oh. Not cutting too short, is it? It's a little short. Maybe I was turning it the wrong way. size, trim, chamfer, burr, measure. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. So, now let's time lapse. Alrighty then. Don't need that. Till we start seeding, we can take out the sizing die. And dialing in the seeding die, it's going to be a little bit different for every single bullet. So I take her up to my rim. This is pretty much perfectly preset. I've loaded thousands of these at this setting. It's tightened down. It's here where you do your seating depth adjustment. And I always, even though, you know, even if I was loading just the 95s today, and I know 100% sure that the last thing I loaded with this die was the 95s, I still back it off and I start tall, and then, you know, little turns at a time, you run her in and measure, you know, adjust, measure, until you get it right there. And then the next one isn't always going to be perfect. It still might be a little bit long because you ran the first one into the die so many times. It might end up seating it deeper than if you had only run it in once. It just is what it is. So the second one, after I get it dialed in, I always check again. You might have to make another 16th little turn, you know, run her again just for safety's sake. Check the third one. Make sure you don't have to make another adjustment. You know, if it's seating the same by the third and the fourth, you can pretty much trust that, you know, the rest of your group is going to come out the same. But each one of these bullets is got a little different shape. They're all, you know, none of them are the same length, but I need the overall length for every single one on this table. Max overall length 2.60, absolute maximum. That's the longest bullet that will fit in an AR style magazine and function. If it was a bolt action, you know, and I was single feeding them, yeah, I could load them a little extra hot and load them a little extra long. But just for consistency's sake, we're gonna stick with the book and go to 2.60 inches on all 50 of them. And also some of these, especially the Lapua, that's a little bit longer, that's going to be seated down into the bullet fairly deep. So that one might compress the powder charge a tiny bit. The LRX is a little bit fatter and also a pretty long projectile, so that one almost definitely will compress the powder just a little bit though. 30 grains isn't we're not exceeding any pressure. I've never seen any pressure signs, injector smears, on the case head, or inflated or flattened primers. No cracks on the case neck. It's when you start getting 31, 32. That's 2 grains is a lot when you're dealing with smokeless gunpowder. So, I always reference the data. And 30 grains is a safe charge for all of these class of bullets. If you start getting heavier, that's about the max on the 127 grains. I've also got 130 grain and 140 grain 6.5 projectiles, but you wouldn't want to go that hot with this powder because it's about in the middle of the usable, the burn rate chart. It's about in the middle of the usable powders for this caliber. If you're going to go with the heavier ones, you want to go to the slower end. I wouldn't shoot anything faster than the BLC2 or the CFE 223 with heavier bullets. It'll pretty much be maxing out the LRX with the heavier one, and hopefully we get good velocity out of that, even being the heaviest bullet in the group. It should do all right. It should do just fine. So next, all our cases are prepped. Well, 2 size. I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of run this video as if anybody watching doesn't know anything about reloading, has never set up any of this equipment. This right here is the RCBS Universal Hand Primer. It's got 2 different pieces, one for doing large primers, one for small, and for rifle and pistol. Come on. Where's my... Oh, is it already out? I believe that's the guy for the small, so we'll drop that in there. Yeah, yep, it's out. So that goes in last. I can also use the number 32. And the RCBS case holders fit better in the RCBS Universal Hand Primer. Go figure. Kind of line that up like so. Oh goodness. Drop your plunger in there, your small primer plunger. And you gotta run your guide back through there. And space that out so it can move fairly freely. A little bit of dry graphite is good for these things, just to keep them moving good. I like working it in a little bit. Okay, primers. Oh, I've currently got large primers in here. The last thing I was loading was 76239, and even though the Grendel is actually based off of the 39 case, it's got a 39 millimeter case head, neck down to 6.5. For whatever reason, these use, you know, they must all be obviously made new instead of just taking 762 cases. 762 by 39 always uses large rifle primers. These take smalls, so you got to change out your pieces from the large to the small. I had a couple leftover primers in there from my last. And you know, the boxes they put these primers in, kind of all of them, all the brands. CCI are a little bit better. They kind of fit in there nice and tight, and it's just one little sleeve. And I don't as often get one that jumps out of its little pocket and falls out, but these Federal ones, they got too much packaging, too big of a box. The way these things are designed, I got these little edges on here. The part of the primer that you need up has got rough edges, and the bottom of the cup has got nice smooth edges. So the nice smooth edges just slide around, the rough edge makes it flip. So instead of trying to sit there and fiddle around and flip every single one with your fingers, you can just give it a little light shake, and it should flip almost. Oh, and that part always happens. See if I can get it while we're in here. Come on. Gotcha. Alright, don't do that again. This big square one does that to me almost every single time. I got the smaller circle guy, and never has that happened. And that's another thing with the Federal primers. The boxes comes in, I can't do that. I have to like kind of feed them in there. So the CCI, you know, the normal primer plastic container they come in, I can and flip them over, and it fits in there tight, and I don't lose any primers. There's no fiddling around. I actually got this one just because of the packaging for the Federal primers, because it doesn't fit, and I'm dropping primers, and for the cost of stuff these days, nobody wants to be dropping primers. Okay, that guy goes in here like so. You can see there's this little side around here. Well, it's got a little thing that goes in that prevents them from exiting the mouth before you're ready. And you can kind of just get them all staged. Open up your little deal, and as you press that up, you'll see the primer come up there. You see that? I do, sometimes they flip inside of here as they're shuffling through. Sometimes they flip, so I do like watching and making sure they're coming up the correct way. every single time. And every single time I run the handle all the way in, just for consistency's sake. But it seats the primers real good. I know they're in there, and you can feel it. That's a really nice thing about these hand primers, is you can feel it. I know that's in there. So this is another boring part. All the case prep is where most of the work is. Once you actually start playing with powder is when it gets kind of fun. So we don't have to record all this. Let's do this last one here, and there. I was just primed 10 cases. I try to keep this propped up where nothing's gonna flip or bounce around too hard. Well, I've got primers in there. I'll go ahead and get the rest of this done, and then we can trickle in our first charge. I said I'm not going to trickle in every single one. I'm going to trickle in the first charge just so I can get the uniflow dialed in, and then we'll just drop them one at a time, and that'll go relatively fast, and seating will also go fast enough. I got little adjustments to make in between each bullet, but I'll probably time lapse most of it. Like I said, I'll show you how to dial in the seating die for the first set of 10, and then I'll time lapse all the rest of the seating. And well, obviously we'll got to do the powder first. I'll show you how to dial in that too, because there's a lot of people don't know, and it is kind of tricky. So and I have my own tricks. So but I'll try to speed up this loading process as much as I can, recording wise, so we can maybe squeeze in some range footage, and I don't have to turn this into a two-part video. This is a timely process, so they end up being timely videos. So I'll get to it. Good. Now, all of our case prep is actually done now. So for dialing in the uniflow, see if I can put this camera in a better spot. So I'm going to show you real quick on the inside here. There's, you can just barely see it, but there's a barrel, and it slides in and out of the threaded hole inside of this drum here. The barrel, this threads in and out. So what you want to do, I got it backed way out. That should be pretty close to all the way in. Okay, so back it out. Definitely more than what your powder charge is actually going to be. Don't put any powder in the Uniflow yet. Fill up your trickler. I don't even have to fill it all the way up. That's more than I need already. I'm only going to trickle 1 or 2 loads. We'll get this out of the way. Over here maybe. And every single time you move your scale, absolutely every single time you move your scale, always, always, always zero it back out. See, that's close. Oh. If there's any fans or vents that are blowing close to the area, turn them off as well. And I actually even try to kind of direct my breathing downwards, not towards the scale or the tray. Okay, that's 0. So, you got 10s, 1s, and I don't know, 10ths right there. And we're going to do 30. So we'll just move that right to 30. And these can all stay where they are. We'll trickle in our first I call it a trickler for a reason. It goes pretty damn slow, so I like to get close by just tipping it a little bit, and that was too much. I'm usually not recording this, so I kind of set it up a lot more ergonomic. But I'm trying, hoping that this is all visible. So what the trickler does, as you saw that, it just dumps, you turn this guy and it dumps, I don't know, I'm sure you can't see that, but the tiniest little bit of powder out every single time. And we're almost right on. It's about perfect. So take a first charge and we'll dump that into the Uniflow. And I like tapping on it with a screwdriver to get it, everything settled into the barrel. Back it out a little bit more, eh? Okay. And then you start to adjust your barrel in until you feel just a little pressure, like, it should float, it should spin real free. And once you feel a little bit pressure, it's about there. And I don't know if you can see that, but on my barrel, instead of a locking nut, I just put a rubber grommet on it. Let's make sure we're on in the shot still. I put a rubber grommet on it and I push that in. It fits on there really tight, and I have yet to have an issue with that moving once I squish that on there. So now that I've got my barrel set, I'm going to fill up your hopper. And I'm not going to fill it up all the way yet because I'm going to keep the cap off just for a couple dumps because I'm going to weigh the first, probably 10 dumps, drops, whatever. Get all the powder out of the trickler. Don't need that anymore. Cap the powder back up. Snug that up. And it is officially dropping powder time. And this is when we kind of start having fun and reloading. The prep part, case prep, is a pain in the ass. I'll just go ahead and say it's total pain in the ass. It's time consuming and it's not fun. Your hands, you know, clamping onto that case while you jam it into the case trimmer, camper, you know, chamferty burr. I end up getting pretty tender, you know, and I got thick leather on my skin. Doing hard labor my entire life, I got pretty meaty paws, but it does beat up on the hands. And so I can only do, like when I'm doing bulk reloads, you know, 5.56 or something like that, doing, you know, running 1,000 loads, I can only probably do 250 a night. I try to set it up in stages. I try to do as much case prep as possible, get everything cleaned and then deprimed and resized, and then I'll throw it back in the tumbler, let it clean out the primer pockets, so I don't have to fiddle around with that. The tumbler works good enough for cleaning out the primer pocket once the primer's out. And then I'll, you know, throw everything in one container and trim everything and then call it a night. And do the exact same thing with the chamfer and deburr, call it a night. And do the exact same thing with priming it, call it a night. And then, you know, when I'm good and motivated, I'll dial in the Uniflow. And once all your case prep is done, you can sit here with a beer and some music or a Vice Grip Garage, you know, video on for a good couple of hours and just drop powder and while you're dropping powder, once you're in the flow of it, and I got all my containers set up, I can just boom, drop it and then seat my bullet. But we're gonna do it one stage at a time here. I'm not doing mass reloading, so whatever. Did I mention I get long-winded? Okay, let's drop that first charge. That was the one that set the barrel depth. Probably going to be wrong. So I'm just going to dump it right back into the hopper. And I don't want powder flicking out of here, so I'm going to do 2. Dump it back out. And then I'll weigh this one. Looks about right, but that doesn't mean nothing. Getting a couple flecks stuck in there. Tap them out. Yeah, that's all of it. So we're really close, but it's a little light. Yeah, we'll just adjust it and get it right. So, because this is a volume contraption and not weight, dialing in is a little bit more tricky, and every time I move the barrel, I will snug my rubber grommet back up, and because I made an adjustment, I'm going to dump it out. And I'll weigh the second or even third drop after every single adjustment. That one even seems to be a little bit less. Alright, I'll turn her out. Let's turn her out a bit. Snug the grommet up, and then we're gonna have to make a couple more adjustments on the way back in, but then I won't have to keep on snugging up the grommet. It'll snug itself up to the surface as I'm turning the barrel back in. We'll drop that one, pour it back in, do it again just for funsies, eh? Okay, let's measure this one. Ooh. Okay, well, that's a fuzz heavy. Good. The rest of this will be easy. Little adjustments. Do a quarter turn. Dump it back in. We'll measure this one. They're still heavy, but only a little bit. Another quarter turn. That looks right. Oh, we're close. It's still heavy, but we're close. Really close. You know, and what it powder dropper ends up coming into, you know, from drop to drop, if you measured every single one on a triple beam scale, it ends up being a tenth, plus or minus. It's damn close. But to trickle in 50 rounds takes a lot of time. Trickling is tedious, and you gotta have steady hands and a lot of patience. Dump her back in. think we're going to be on enough. Okay. We're just a fuzz below the line. Actually, I'm going to drop another one. And if it gets me in the same spot 2-3 times in a row, I'll go ahead and call that good. Maybe we can adjust the weights and figure out what that exactly is. It's probably 29.9. Which a little bit light is better than a little bit hot when you're dealing with loading. Yeah, that's fine. So let's see what that is. I'll take this back one notch, bring this up to 29, and I'm going to go with my first guess. That was 29.9. Oh, geez. Yeah, that's so ridiculously close. It's... Yep, 29.9. So that's what we're going with. Consider the Uniflow dialed in. The grommet is nice and snug. So let's just go ahead and start dropping charges. And all that fiddling around is actually worth it, because it goes that fast. So let's we'll skip through the rest. You don't want to watch me drop all 50 of these. We'll skip to bullet seating, and then I'll time lapse through all that. All right, our powder is dropped, so we can just get everything out of the way. All we need now is bullets and calipers. So, let's go right to left, right? 95 grain Hornady VMAX. Like I said, I'm going to start with the seating die backed way out. And all of these are boat tails, so they seat really nice. Flat bottoms don't. These you can just stick right in there. I could have all of these just sitting in there, and kind of snug them into that chamfer, and they'd sit just fine. I don't do it that way, some guys do. But flat bottoms are not the same animal, and that's why we do that chamfer. If I'm planning on loading flat bottom bullets like this guy, well, you can see in the picture it's a flat bottom. Those I literally need to hold all the way into the seating die. These are just fine. I don't even think that touched it. So we can go way in. Okay, that just barely touched it. Yeah, way in. Still in. These end up being pretty short. But re-zero. Oh, come on now. Damn it. Sometimes it's good to test the tester. That went way too short. Damn. So, let's put a mark on this one. I have 10. I'll just put S for short. Knew I should have been measuring. I was dumb. Okay, I know this is long, but let's just practice good habits. See how long. What? Okay. It's only a little bit long. And that was only a little bit short. So, still low. Still 0.30. I'm going to get down to 2. 2.26. Yeah. So I only got to get down a little bit. Yeah. A bit more. 2.29. A little bit more. 0.28. At this point, I like making very small adjustments because you can go too far really easy. Once it's set, you just blast through them. I think that'll do it. Oh, come on. 2.27. It's close. 2.26. Double check with this guy. This one's saying it's a little long. Give her one extra little tiny snug. Let's see what this one says. Okay, that's perfect. Let's see if it stays perfect. If this one's perfect, I can just power through them. Yeah, I'd call that teeniest tiny little snug, but I'm going to go ahead and call that perfect. Well, I just went, that was 2.263, and that thousandths shouldn't make a big deal, but I give her another teeny little snug for fun. Oh yeah, yeah, we're money. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so now I can go ahead and bang the rest of these out, and then I'm just going to go through all of the rest of them, try and speed this part of it up. I'll do a quick look over, and then we'll, weather's shit right now. It's going to be shit for a little bit. Hopefully maybe next weekend I can get to the range and see what they do. So, alright, stay tuned. Alrighty. There they are. In all their glory. Beautiful. So, I'll get these packaged up, and they will sit in here and wait for the weather to be good enough to go shoot. The 100-yard range I go to is pretty lowland. It's all adjacent to farmland that gets flooded really bad in the spring, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on it. And as soon as I can get to the range, we will set up cameras, multiple views. I'll get, you know, cameras on the target, cameras on me, and try to be in view of the chronograph, and we'll record speeds, compare it by bullet weight, and figure out what our average, our standard deviation or average speed on each one, and then also our average energy, which would be really interesting to see. You know, obviously the lighter ones are going to be going faster, the heavier ones are going to be going a little bit slower. They're all using the exact same case out of the exact same package. They have the exact same case prep. They have the exact same powder charge and primer out of the same package. It was all one package of primers, one bottle of powder. So everything is consistent as possible. Case depth, overall length is exactly the same on every single one, except for this first one, which is a 10th short, 100th short, 2.264, and this one also ended up 2.24. So all the rest of them are like exactly within a thousandth, 2.5 9 to 2.60. They're all perfect. So it is as absolutely consistent as I could be. It's going to be interesting to see what the 5 different bullets do, velocity, accuracy, and energy wise. And it's just a really cool thing to do. Like, you know, putting the time into this. One of these is going to perform better than the rest, but all of them are better than anything you can buy on the shelf at any, gun store. There's so much satisfaction that goes into taking the time to building a good bullet and then finally dropping some game with it, or if you're a competition shooter, tightening up your groups. I've never shot groups like I shoot since I started reloading, and like I said, this one, I think exactly with this load, pretty sure it was 29.9 with these primers. Shot the best I've ever seen anything shoot. Best group I ever shot in my life, with any gun, was this bullet. So curious to see what this one does. I'm excited to try and use this for hunting. I think I'll get enough energy out of that. It's an all copper, internally segmented, so they expand, real nasty, but they have good weight retention. As long as I can get some good velocity out of it, I should be able to transfer. If I can get it in the 1,800 foot-pounds of energy ballpark, I'd be pretty happy. That or better would be. I'd be tickled pink. So stick around, and I'll get to the range soon as I can. Soon as the weather's good enough. I'm itching. Itching to go, blow some steam off. Whatever. It's been a long, cold, nasty winter, and I'm excited for good weather. Go shooting. I am finally getting close to 1,000 subscribers. I've had this channel up for 4 years. I do all kinds of different stuff, a lot of off-grid equipment. I run my entire house off-grid, so I go through all of that, any changes, updates, the entire system, which it's vast, actually. I have a family of 5, and I live in the city, and I live off-grid in the Midwest and deal with winters all winter. So, it's been a challenge, but I've learned some really efficient techniques. And, I like playing with toys, go-karts, and I'm definitely a Second Amendment advocate. So, I don't know if you're interested in this kind of stuff. If you've seen any of my other videos, or this is the first you've seen, I don't ever ask for likes or subscribes, other than just in cheesy text briefly at the end of some videos. But I would appreciate it. Drop a like or a comment. See if you're interested in this kind of content. I do a lot of reloading. You can see from my powder and bullet selection, I load a lot of different calibers, a lot of different bullet weights for different purposes. My girls shoot with me, and that's part of our homesteading is hunting and getting some of our meat and gardening, and just like everything I do, I like to do it myself. So yeah, I don't buy ammo. I buy components and I build my ammo. All right. Thanks for watching. God bless you.